Welcome to Mitchell Ali Unscripted, and as the name of the channel kind of suggests, this is a channel where I'll be posting a lot of business stuff, personal stuff, just general lessons that I'm kind of learning throughout this entrepreneurial journey. And unscripted simply means that I won't be preparing the videos and doing the same amount of, research and previous, research, as you can probably tell, into the actual videos. I won't be scripting them at all, so it's completely off the cuff. You can join me, it might be with a coffee in the morning or a Coke Zero at 5:23. But less about the channel. I'll actually go through that more in the future. But today I wanted to talk about something that's on my mind a lot, and it's about perfection. And as someone who is a all or nothing person, diagnosed with ADHD, no longer self-diagnosed, actually physically or medically is probably the better term. I struggle when it comes to either doing like half-hearted things. I can't do anything half-hearted. I'm either in or I'm out. I'm 0%, 100%, whether that's diet, whether that's health, whether that's, business, whether that's doing content. So I really struggle to get things out if they're not what I determine as perfect. And the problem with that, when you then link it to other personality problems or other ways of doing work, is that getting to perfect is actually impossible. Perfect doesn't exist. So what ends up happening as you start to actually do things and do projects and take tasks on is that you never actually finish them, which means you're then left with absolutely tons of 80% or 70% completed tasks. And over the last, 5 years since I started my first business, and now obviously we're doing pretty well at the moment, and we're kind of on a growth path like that. But the problem with perfection is that it's going to limit you back in ways that you kind of never even really knew before you started it. And something that I'm trying really hard on at the moment is getting things out there or finishing things at 7 out of 10, because the pursuit of getting something to a 10 out of 10 is just there's so many diminishing returns from going from a 7 to a 10 or even from an 8 to a 10 out of 10. And I really think that I've actually held myself back a lot in life, but mainly I'm talking about business here, by trying to get everything perfect. I'm trying to make sure the website looks perfect. I'm trying to make sure the video's edited perfect. I'm trying to make sure the sales copy or the sales calls or the email nurture sequences are all perfect. And the problem with that is you go into some ridiculously deep rabbit holes. And when you get into those rabbit holes, it's then really, really hard for you to be able to finish things. So as I was saying, when I stopped seeking perfection, and I obviously still struggle with it now, it's not something that I can kind of just switch on and off, but it's something I'm really, really trying hard, especially, in 2026, is to kind of get rid of that idea of perfection and just to get things out when they're just above average, or just to do a task and allow it to be above average. And I really think we're actually making strides in the business and in my personal life now that I've stopped trying to get to that level. So if I can relate this to business, the best that I can is that when you start, or I don't know what stage of it you're at, or even if you've got a business, or maybe even you're waiting to start a business, there's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect, entrance into the market for you. You're never going to have a perfect product. You're never going to have a perfect system. You're never going to have a perfect co-founder. You're not going to have a perfect ad copy. You're not going to have a perfect email, whatever you're trying to do. And if you can just actually begin to get stuff out, a 7 out of 10, I always think that the quantity of things that you can do is going to skyrocket you into a place where you have never been able to get to before. So if you're sitting there and you are, umming and ahhing, or you're taking a lot of time to finish things, just let it go at 80%, because I have spent so long on so many tasks and products and lead magnets and email copy and ads and videos that ended up getting 0 viewers to it, or 0 purchase, or 0 people actually going through the process. And I could have learned that if I'd have actually got it out there earlier, we could have had feedback a lot quicker, and I might have learned that no one ever wanted that, or no one ever was going to read the website, or nobody actually got to that level of email nurture on the way down. So yeah, my message here is that if you can get things out, you're going to get a lot more benefits than if you sit there and just constantly strive for perfection. So with that being said, if you're interested in this sort of content, or you want to learn more about my journey or the stuff that I've struggled with over the last 5 years of owning businesses, then please hit the subscribe button. So there's going to be some good videos coming out. There's going to be some that are maybe a little bit more edited than what this one will be, but there's also going to be a lot of this one where I sit down with a Coke Zero or a coffee or a cup of tea, and we can just hash out some of the problems that I think all of us are facing. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.